Hello and welcome back to MCB TV. I am Cody and today we're going to be reviewing NHL 7 for the Xbox 360, so let's get into it. NHL 7 came out on a variety of platforms including the PC, PS2, the PlayStation Portable, and the original Xbox as well as the Xbox 360. The graphics and gameplay on the Xbox 360 version is a complete 180 from the other versions. It's basically a foundation for where current NHL games are right now. The Xbox 360 version comes with a whole different interface and commentary team in Gary Thorne and Bill Clement. The main differences are the graphics are a major step up from NHL 06 because of the fact this was the first EA title on the Xbox 360. The rival NHL 2K6 and 2K7 were also on the 360, so 2K was basically the first to swap to next-gen consoles. NHL 7 also introduces a groundbreaking new mechanic called the skill stick, which is still primary controls for today's NHL games. Basically, instead of using your buttons like you'd normally press like X to take a wrist shot, B to take a slap shot, A to pass, Y to deke, now you would be able to use your thumbsticks to control what you do, so you can move it side to side to do like some dekes. You could even do spinoramas with it. You could take wrist shots and slap shots all with your thumbstick. You could also poke check using the bumper instead of using an actual button. So this was basically an all new way to play NHL games because 2K hadn't even thought of this at this point in time. So for some reason, if you didn't want to play with the skill stick, you could play with the normal controls like you could do into your settings and change it back to the classic controls. That way you could keep still playing the way you liked it. NHL 7 also had a couple different game modes including Play Now, Dynasty Mode, Tournament Mode, and Shootout Mode. You could also play online if you wanted to against your friends on Xbox Live. Dynasty Mode, which was in NHL 2004, 2005, and 06, was brought back with its scouting ability as well as the ability to send players down to the minors, so you could like do a lot more stuff in Dynasty Mode. Like it was improved a lot upon that, and like I said, eventually it turned into GM Mode, and in GM Mode turned into Franchise Mode where we are currently. So basically, NHL 07 was kind of the groundwork for a lot of future games in terms of EA Sports NHL. Tournament mode allowed you to take control of a national team in a tournament style, or if you for some reason didn't want to play with Team Canada and Team United States and all that sort of stuff, you could substitute NHL teams for them. That way you could do kind of like a playoff mode, I guess, if you wanted to, but you wouldn't be battling for the Stanley Cup, you'd be battling for, I think it's still the World Cup of Hockey or something like that. Also in NHL 7, you could create your own player and designate him a contract as well as give him player type and all that sort of stuff. Like there was a lot more customizability with in terms of create a player. Like you could even put yourself like a picture of like it's a generated picture of like some random NHL faces that you could use. There wasn't a whole lot of selection for that. However, they built upon that in NHL 08 and 09 and all that sort of stuff down the road. Soundtrack wise, NHL 7 has a great soundtrack that if you could play like today, like there's a big nostalgia factor if you played the game way back in 2007. Like a lot of the songs remind me of playing it like at my friend's house back in the day. So like honestly, I really like the soundtrack as in comparison to like 2K Sports, because 2K Sports in these days they had just really generic like music playing, and it was really boring when you would play those. But then when you would get into like EA Sports games, you had the actual bands playing music, and it just sets you into that like era of the game more, and like the rosters and all that stuff kind of brings you back to those days. My only things I don't particularly like about NHL 7 is the fact that there's no European leagues like there was in previous NHL games or in NHL 7 for the other consoles. For some reason, it wasn't in Next Gen. I think it's just because they were working on getting it ready for the 360 and they kind of ran out of time, so they didn't include it. However, I think it was brought back for NHL 08, so it's not really the biggest concern. But yeah, that's just one problem I have with NHL 7. Another thing is like the 360 version is a bit off like in terms of the player animations, because when you're skating like it just seems a bit like clunky, like the player kind of like skips an animation or something. But like yeah, the animation is kind of weird in comparison to like when you get to like NHL 12. So like it obviously was built upon and like improved a lot, but it was just kind of a weird thing for the game. However, I remember in 2007 when I was playing it, I remember really liking the graphics and seeing how much they compared to like the original Xbox, because I had the original Xbox version, I had the PlayStation Portable version, and then I also had the 360 version, and it's just like a major difference. Like I'll probably put a side by side comparison so you guys could see if you never played both versions, but like it was like day and nighttime. Okay, so that's gonna basically just wrap up my quick little review and thoughts on NHL 07 from EA Sports on the Xbox 360. I hope you found it helpful. And if you had this game, what were your thoughts about it? Did you guys think it was a very good game for its time? How do you think it compared to like the previous games? Let me know all your opinions down below in the comments. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.